Everyone loves Deadpool's dance and hates She-Hulk's. But why? The two scenes are very similar. We see a character who can break the fourth wall trying to be funny, dancing to the rhythm of a pop song. But Deadpool's scene works, and She-Hulk's does not. There are 5 reasons that explain this, and none of them have to do with Deadpool being a man and She-Hulk being a woman.
You lie!
First reason. In the intro of Deadpool and Wolverine, we hear Bye 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 by NSYNC. This isn't just a catchy song that makes everybody want to dance along. It's also one of the most famous pop songs of all time. There's no one over 25 anywhere in the world who hasn't heard it at least once. This makes it perfect for a movie like this one, with a target audience of adults over 20 who grew up watching the Fox universe.
I'm so old!
Maybe you confuse NSYNC with the Backstreet Boys, because these two boy bands are very similar. And maybe you didn't know Justin Timberlake was part of this band, but it would be really weird if you couldn't hum the song, because it's super famous. I saw Deadpool and Wolverine on opening day, and half the people in the cinema were moving their shoulders when the song played, because they knew it by heart. I had to resist the urge to sing out loud in front of everyone. This is key, because by using a well-known song, Marvel ensured people liked the scene. The same thing happened with the Madonna song that played in the trailers and during the third act.
Does this song sound familiar to you?
Marvel did something different in She-Hulk. In this scene, we hear Body by Megan Thee Stallion, which is this singer's most famous song. The problem is that Megan isn't anywhere near as famous as NSYNC. I haven't met a single person who watched She-Hulk and said, "Oh yeah, I know this song. It's one of my favorites." This is the part where someone will open Instagram and tell me Megan has 32 million followers, and that I would love to have that many. Yeah, it's true, that's a lot of people. But for a mainstream pop singer, it's not that much. Dua Lipa has 87 million, and Taylor Swift has 280. If Marvel had used a song by one of them in She-Hulk, the reception would have been very different, because people would have recognized the song instantly. They're two of the most famous singers in the world, like the NSYNC guys back in the day. But I guess they didn't want to do that, because they would have had to pay a fortune to use 2 seconds of one of their songs.
I don't have that kind of money.
This matters because being unknown to the general audience means the singer's cameo doesn't carry any weight. The song they use isn't well known either, and it doesn't bring that nostalgic feeling like they did with Bye Bye Bye. And it gets worse. Megan's song is kind of terrible. It sounds like this.
Shut up!
Second reason. The choreography of the two dance sequences is completely different. Deadpool does all kinds of well-choreographed and perfectly executed moves because the person under the mask isn't Ryan Reynolds, but a professional dancer. They needed someone who knew how to move really well, because part of the choreography is a recreation of the original NSYNC video. Some moves, like this one, might seem simple, but I invite you to try doing this at home and see if you get it right on the first try. It's not that easy. I'm speaking from experience. It takes someone with talent to do this, and we all value people with talent.
Let's dance.
And there's more. Other parts of the dance are completely new, like this one. These sensual moves work almost like a parody because they're stripper moves, not male pop singer moves. Since it's Deadpool moving like that, it's funny because it's unexpected and shows us that Wade isn't taking what's happening seriously. Yeah, the original dance is more complicated because it's longer, and it's 5 people coordinating moves at the same time, not just one person dancing alone like in the Deadpool and Wolverine intro. But still, what Deadpool does is not easy.
Got the moves.
She-Hulk's moves aren't like that. Jennifer only does one move throughout the dance, shaking her butt, nothing else. It could work to seduce someone if it weren't for the fact that we're looking at a green clay monster. But the problem is that even if the special effects were amazing, twerking is not seen as a high standard dance by most people. It doesn't matter if it's done by a man or a woman. No one applauds someone for twerking because of their skill, because anyone can move like that, as long as they don't have hip problems. No one will ever win an Olympic medal for being able to shake their butt. And I know what you're thinking, that if Deadpool had shown up twerking like She-Hulk instead of doing a super complex choreography, people would still have liked it. That is true. And the third reason explains why. We have to remember we're watching superhero movies, not musicals. Even though Deadpool and She-Hulk star in comedies, there has to be a reason for the characters to start dancing, no matter how ridiculous it is. And the reason behind the two dances is different. Deadpool starts dancing because he doesn't take what's happening seriously. When the TVA agents order him to hand over his weapons, Wade promises not to use them, and instead attacks them with Wolverine's skeleton because he knows he can kill them all without using his katanas and his guns. That's why he starts dancing in the middle of the forest. He knows he can defeat all the agents, even while doing a choreography in the middle of a fight, because he doesn't take the TVA seriously.
I'm the best.
And the song isn't just playing in the background. Deadpool uses his dance to break the fourth wall and interact with the credits, like in this shot where he knocks down the producers' names with a little kick. He also attacks the agents to the rhythm of the song. When we hear "out that door," Wade slaps an agent 3 times, coordinating the movement with the 3 words before the chorus. One part of the lyric says, "Just hit me with the truth." And right when you hear the word hit, we see Deadpool hitting an agent on the head.
Didn't you notice?
Deadpool dances to make it clear that this is going to be a comedy, that he's going to make fun of everyone, that it's going to be a very violent movie because we see the dance intercut with a massacre. And it's also telling us that this is going to be a nostalgic movie because Wade is doing a choreography from 20 years ago. She-Hulk starts dancing because she feels like it. In this scene, Megan Thee Stallion signs a contract for She-Hulk to be her lawyer from now on. There's a cut, and then they're both dancing in her office, just because.
That doesn't make any sense.
Someone might say She-Hulk wanted to take the opportunity to dance with Megan to celebrate because she's a fan of the singer. But fans of Shakira don't start twerking with her if they run into her on the street. Maybe they ask for a photo, but they're not going to start dancing. If we go into deep film analysis mode, we could say She-Hulk starts twerking because she finally feels comfortable in her body and accepts that she's a Hulk. That's why she's more extroverted than in the first episode, when she didn't want anything to do with controlling her powers. Maybe the intention of this scene is to show us Jennifer's physical and mental change. She used to be a serious person who took her job very seriously, but now she's more relaxed and wants to use her powers in front of everyone.
I don't buy it.
But honestly, all of this feels a bit forced because none of it is picked up in the following episodes. In fact, in episode 7, Jennifer admits that she doesn't feel comfortable being She-Hulk and that she almost wishes she hadn't gotten those powers. One scene has an interesting background, a reason to exist, and uses the song creatively, and the other one does not. Fourth reason. The timing of the 2 dances is different, and that's super important. Deadpool's dance happens at the beginning of the movie, and like I mentioned before, the scene works to anticipate what's to come. It's unexpected because we've never seen Deadpool dancing before, and no one expected the first scene of the movie to be a desecration of Logan, with Wade literally dancing on Wolverine's remains.
Show some respect.
But the scene works because it sets the tone of the movie and gives us an idea of what we're going to see next. That's exactly what an intro is supposed to do. She-Hulk's dance happens in a post-credits scene. Marvel has trained us to expect that post-credit scenes are important because they have been since Iron Man 1. It's normal for people to feel disappointed when they see Fiona shaking her butt because this doesn't hint at anything that's coming next. This post-credit scene doesn't work as a teaser for the next project, not even as a teaser for the next episode of She-Hulk. It's just a bad joke.
Not funny.
Before you call me a Deadpool fanboy, something similar happened with the Deadpool and Wolverine post-credit scene where we heard Johnny Storm being all foul-mouthed and we confirmed Wade wasn't lying when they were in the void. The scene may be funny, but I heard several people in the theater who were disappointed because they expected much more. If the post-credits scene had been Deadpool dancing, I'm sure this scene wouldn't have gone viral, and more than one person would have left the theater angry because they were expecting to see a teaser for Avengers 5, not Deadpool dancing. But because the dance happens at the beginning, the reception was good. Fifth reason, for some, the most important one. It's no secret that Deadpool is one of the most beloved superheroes of recent years, and that very few people like She-Hulk. This is key, because it's easier to laugh at a friend's joke than to laugh at a joke told by that jerk you can't stand. Maybe your friend isn't Jerry Seinfeld, and doesn't tell the best jokes ever, but you might laugh anyway, even if the joke isn't that funny, because you know them and like them. But you're probably not going to laugh at the joke of your worst enemy, no matter how good their stand-up show is. You might even try not to laugh, even if you know they've said something funny.
No sense of humor.
This may seem silly, or you might think some people are just stubborn about hating everything She-Hulk does, but it's one of the reasons sitcoms work so well. Brooklyn Nine-Nine is one of my favorite comedies ever, but the first episode seemed just okay to me. They had some good jokes, but it took me several episodes to get attached to the characters and laugh at every joke the lead made. The second time I watched the show, the first episode seemed much funnier to me because I was already into the show and had grown fond of each character's quirks. The jokes were the same, but since I liked the characters more, I laughed more.
That does make sense.
It's the same with Deadpool and She-Hulk. A lot of us are ready to laugh at whatever Deadpool does because the character was well built in the previous 2 movies. We're already in on his game, and we like Ryan Reynolds, so there were many chances we would laugh at anything he did. But since She-Hulk starred in a terrible series, and her character is written to make us dislike her, it makes sense that we'd raise an eyebrow when she tries to be funny. If you add that to the 4 previous reasons, it's logical that no one liked She-Hulk's dance. Of course, it's not that simple. There are 4 reasons why Deadpool is funny and She-Hulk is not. We explain them in this video over here.
Get out of here!